We had a great bye week. It came at a good time for us. The guys got them a mental break and a physical break, and hopefully all the guys will be ready to go this weekend. They took off Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and we had our practice at 6 o'clock this morning. Some guys were out on the field by 5:30, and we practiced for about an hour and a half and had really good work in the stadium. It was dark like it's going to be on Saturday night, and there's a little drizzle. So it was good that we got some rain work as well. But it sets the tempo for the entire week, and now the guys have the rest of the day off to rest up for tomorrow's practice and get back in the classroom. So that'll help them too. Players and coaches saw a lot of games this weekend, so it was fun, but it's an eye-opener. We told them to sit like coaches and watch games and see what you do in that situation and see what comes up and happens. And it was fun for me because I had guys texting me throughout the night on Thursday night's game with Colorado, West Virginia, and then Friday night and Saturday night. What would we do here, Coach? And what do you think about this? Who do you think's going to win? How's this one going to come out? So it was really fun to back away from it and just watch other teams play and kind of get a feel of where we are. Did a lot of self-studies over the last week, try to know more about ourselves, know where we need to improve and things that we've looked at, and we should know more about our identity as we get ready to go into this weekend's game. Got a lot of work with the young guys. We stayed out there a long time after practice on Wednesday and Thursday, and really got a lot of individual work and fundamental stuff that the guys that aren't playing need, because they'll have bowl practice coming up pretty soon and be getting back to spring practice before we know it. And it was fun for them to get some attention. And then our 7 coaches had an outstanding week of recruiting. So they went out on Thursday night and got to see a lot of games. Time to restart the season. We've got 4 very difficult conference games coming up. 1 at home, 1 at the neutral site, and then 2 on the road. And this is kind of the stretch last year that got us in trouble. We played well the first time last year. First game, second game, we played really well. And then we didn't play as well against Oklahoma State, and then didn't play well at all out at Tech. So we need to go through this stretch with a strong mentality and then start over. We've got to have a lot of energy. And last year it kind of beat us down. But it's very important, and to notice that 3 of those are basically road games. So we've been at home. We've been pretty comfortable. We've got 1 more at home. We only have 3 home games left for the year. But then we have to go be good on the road, and that's more difficult. Saturday night's game is 6:15. It is ESPN. Again, when you look around, you see all the upsets. It shows you again that what I believe is that we shouldn't have preseason polls. We're starting to find out who the best teams are now in the next couple of weeks. By middle of October, end of October, you know who's for real and who just had preseason hype. But a lot of that's starting to happen now. And if you go back and look at where Houston was and UTEP last week, I mean, that's enough of a message to our players and our coaches that you better go to work regardless of who you play every week, because you're not sure what's out there. Our coaches asked me last night if I would say something about Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I asked them how many families in that room were affected, and over 2/3 were. And my mother's been affected by breast cancer, and she's doing well, and my good friend Phil Mickelson's wife Amy within this year has been affected. So it is an awful disease, and we would like for everybody's thoughts and prayers to be with the people that are afflicted by that disease and their families, not only this month but year round. The players have asked about doing something during a game because a lot of the pro teams did yesterday, and that's something that the university is looking at right now to see if there is some way that we could bring more awareness. But I wanted to say that today just to make sure. Colorado game is important to us. We've got 2 players from the state of Colorado, Nolan Brewster and Lamar Houston, and we've got 4 staff members. Kenny Boyd was the trainer at Colorado. Bobby Kennedy grew up in Boulder. You start looking at Jeff Madden and his years there when they won a national championship, and also Donnie Mabe was on the staff with Jeff Madden when they were there. So Coach Hawkins will have them ready, and they'll be excited about being in here, and I think this stadium will be rocking again on a Saturday night. So questions?
Coach, can you talk about Cody Hawkins? He's a coach's son. You like coach's sons. He struggles some, but he's still very powerful quarterback at times. He did a lot of good things early against West Virginia.
Yes, we actually had Cody in our camp here. He came down and spent time with us, and I think Major was coaching him at that time when he was here as a graduate assistant. And Cody is a whole lot like Colt. He's tough, he's smart, he makes good decisions. You're not going to rattle him. Every time somebody knocks him down, he jumps up before they can get off the field, and he is a very good football player. They're throwing the ball more this year than they did last year, and he's throwing it at a very high rate.
Matt, can you speak to, you mentioned UTEP UH, does that say that it's more about being ready to play than how good you are?
Dick Tomey made a statement to me when he coached here that I thought has been so true, and I never thought about it. It's not about the best program. It's not about the best team. It's about the team that plays the best on that day. So when everybody walks out and said, we beat them 9 out of 10, it means absolutely nothing, because the one that you played them, you lost. And you don't get another 9 out of 10 that year. Oh, we didn't play well today. Well, then you got beat, because it's your responsibility to play well each week. So I think that's what we're seeing, Roger. I think we're seeing that you better bring your A game each week. There are enough teams that are alike. And when you look at how bad UTEP played here and how good they must have played Saturday night, I talked to Mike Price on Monday, and I said, hey, I'll bet you play Houston's feet off on Saturday night. Now, I'll bet you. I don't know how it's going to come out, but I bet you. And I left him a message yesterday. I hadn't talked to him, but it is hard to play every week. And Houston came off of a very emotional game with Oklahoma State, a very emotional game with Texas Tech. And looking at our film, there's no way they could have had respect for UTEP. And that's a dangerous thing. I mean, and we call it, the players laughed at me when I walked in the meeting room last night. They said, the poison cheese. Coach, that poison cheese is out there. You can't eat it. And they can't. I mean, they got to be smart. You can't listen to all that's around you. You got to make sure that you play your best each week. And that's hard to do. I used to think it was easy to do. I would say, why can't you play 12 times? Not many people do it. And I don't know why, but it doesn't happen very often that you take your A game 12 times. You're going to have to win some games that you don't play very well in.
Coach, is that the reason why you preach the standard? Because you can kind of wade through the minutia of all this mess and just play to what you want Texas to be?
It is. We felt like in preseason 2005 that we were second in the country, SC was 1, and everybody said to us, unless you win the national championship or play SC for it, you've had a bad year. So how could we get our players ready to play Louisiana Lafayette in the opener? So what we said is, okay, if you all want to win the national championship, then you have to play like it every week. You have to play to the standard of the best team in the country. So we actually started taking our game, regardless of who it was against, and seeing how it fit against Southern Cal. And that's what we're trying to do now. We're trying to put enough pressure on our team that they understand that when they walk out and beat a team 64-7, there's still some things that we had to do better to have won all the games.
Coach, can you talk about Jordan Shipley's experience and what it's meant to Lucy and Cornell?
Yes, first, Jordan is a wonderful role model and story for everybody out there that's struggling right now. Because here's a guy that I thought should have quit. And I told Bo Scaife he should quit. And I wasn't sure about Jordan. Here's a guy that loses 2 years. And he's got a really bad hamstring. He's got a banged up knee. Nothing's happening good for him. He'd had everything right happen in his life in sports, and now it's all downhill. And what he did is just kept coming and kept coming. And then when he got back, he did okay, but he didn't do great, didn't quite have his speed back. And he has just done wonderfully. I mean, you have to give him credit for the attitude, for his toughness, his personality.
Season off, and I guess many seasons, and how does it help?
The mental strain over the year for me gets long and hard. And what I need to do it for me. Number one, to start over and be fresh and restart. And how exciting. We're first game of the year again. And if it's that way for a 58-year-old, it has to be that way for a young guy who's in the middle of midterms. He's fighting through stuff. He's going on the road here 3 weeks after this one, so he's got a very tough stretch. And then you come back and start over again. So we try to divide things up just where it looks like that this is fun and exciting to restart. People like new, they like fresh, they like starts. And we throw the stats out and start over. And it also gives guys a chance to, if you haven't done well, to have a new leaf, get a new start.
Coach, you talked about this 4-game stretch compared to last year's, and people would say, well, they're so different. But do you coach your players like they're the same, whether they were all ranked teams last year and this year they aren't? Yes,
and 3 of these 4 are ranked teams. And 2 of the 4 are undefeated. No, 1 of the 4. Missouri is undefeated. But when you look at it, none of that really matters. It's the fact that it's tougher to win on the road than at home, if you look at stats nationally, for everybody. This team went on the road and got a slow start against Wyoming. So we've got to play well and, again, increase that standard this weekend and then get ready to play away from home for 3 straight games, because this is a comfortable place to play. And we also wanted them to understand that whatever happened last year in the 4th game of that stretch, we need to fix, because this is pretty much the same time of the year. It's 1 week earlier, but it's pretty much the same stretch. And then we come back with Central Florida and had an out-of-conference game, and we'll start the season over there, because that's a very different thing for us, too, to play an out-of-conference game that late in the season, and then we have a tough stretch to finish.
What's your thoughts about the Big 12 Conference last year compared to this year? Why do you think it has changed so much in 1 year?
I don't think it's changed that much. I think it's too early to tell, Jeff, but to me it's usually based on quarterbacks. Teams go as their quarterback goes. And if you just look at the best teams in the country, they got the best quarterbacks. And that's what happens. I go back to usually older quarterbacks are better than younger ones, but at the same time, Colt won 10 games as a freshman. If he hadn't gotten hurt, he might have won 12. So Roethlisberger's doing pretty good at Pittsburgh. So that's not always the case, but by and large, when your team has experienced quarterbacks and some defense, you're usually in pretty good shape.
You speak to Rodney Stewart and what he does carrying the ball.
Tough as nails, quick as could be. He's got really good vision, but he's never down. He just keeps fighting, and we saw that last year. He's a guy that really concerns you. Colorado's not running the ball as well right now as they did this time last year. And our concern would be, you go back and look at UTEP rushed the ball for over 300 yards against Houston. They rushed it for 9 yards against us, so they held the ball. They were able to be balanced. And last year we were able to stop Colorado's running game. So our concern is that Colorado will come in and try to run the ball against us by running it, handle our pass rush, and give Cody time to throw. And you have to stop the run. We stopped the run against UTEP, and that gave us a chance to put pressure on the quarterback. But if you allow a team to run, then you got a chance to get beat.
Coach, you mentioned the texting with you and the players. Were there any texts about Oklahoma that you had to kind of text back and get them focused back on Colorado? Was there any of that?
No, there really weren't. Our media and fans look ahead more than our players, and you all don't have to play. But I think our players have been around long enough, and they just look at Saturday again. You look at every game, and about the time you go out there and you stand around, I think Houston maybe had 6 turnovers and UTEP didn't turn it over. I mean, you have to be ready to play to take care of your business. And as much as we say it, really and truly, you all don't have to believe it. It doesn't matter. Our players have to understand that if you don't play well, you can lose. To anybody. It doesn't matter. You can lose, and we see it. I mean, you can go Appalachian, Michigan. Every year, and usually most weekends, you can look up and find some reason that you better get yourself ready to play. So really and truly, we think we have a better idea of who we are right now with the identity. Now let's put it into place. That should be fun for us. This should be a great week for us. We only have 3 home games left, so what an awful thing for our guys not to be excited about this one. So we're pumped. We're excited. And the guys were excited to see each other last weekend or yesterday, and they were excited this morning at practice. So I think we'll play well this weekend.
Mack, is that something you've had to change? I mean, when you first got here, did people 2 weeks before OU, were they already thinking about OU because it was such a big game, and now players kind of get it that you have to play each week?
Yes, and I don't think I handled it well, because I always was told you had to look at the next game, and Lord, it is 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and they're saying, what about OU? And I'm thinking, my gosh, I didn't look at the schedule properly. I thought we were playing somebody else for the next 3 weeks. And then I remember there was a time where we couldn't get through with a game before OU, before somebody would ask, what about OU? And I said, could we go over this game? I mean, let's at least go over this game. So I've had to learn in my 12 years here that what you do is you coach for the week you got. You take them one at a time. And in fact, if I say something about another game, if I mentioned OU right now, the coach would say, Coach, don't go there. Don't go there now. You better get ready to play this week. And that's the way our team is right now. And I think that's part of the growth of this team. This is an older team, an experienced team, and they do get it.
Okay. We got to run.
Thanks.
Thank you all.
So should we not ask about OU Center?
No.
Thanks.